but you want to make sure you're only using these in preserve.
That's alright, you said preserve too.
Shut up!
Hey everybody, welcome to Lions Pride Tavern podcast number 85. Tonight we find out how we did in this weekend's continuing raid of Antorus the Burning Throne, and the news is awesome. Plus, Charity has a surprise announcement. But before all that, let's start off with introductions. I'm your host, Stafford. I play a Dwarven Beastmaster Hunter in the awesome game World of Warcraft. Next up is JobUi.
Hi, I'm JobUi. I play a Worgen Fire Mage.
And Lorelei.
Hello, it's Lorelei, your Night Elf Arms Warrior.
Epistle up north.
Greetings, I'm Epistle, and I play a Draenei Protection Paladin. Sometimes Draenei, sometimes Draenei.
And Charity plays...
Hello, it's Shepherd or Charity, your friendly neighborhood resto shaman. And you can call me whatever you want. I heal.
And she has a tail.
And I have a tail. Yes! Sometimes it
everybody?
wiggles when I run.
Very good.
Sometimes, not all the time.
Only sometimes.
Doing well.
Anything exciting going on this week?
Oh, yes.
I went and saw the Avengers today.
I
No
got back
spoilers.
5 minutes
No,
ago.
but it's
I
awesome.
got in
I'm
the
going to go
door
again
5
next
minutes.
Sunday, too. Got to watch everything I missed the first time.
I haven't gotten a chance to see it yet, but
We're
I
going
do plan on seeing it.
Wednesday.
My daughter went and saw it today.
I love
Well,
audience reactions. At the
non-spoilery
Everybody
things?
walked
Oh,
out
yeah.
and was quiet. And this is a theater packed full of people, and everybody walked out quiet.
I was sitting by somebody
No spoilers!
I was sitting by somebody who was very loud in her reactions. It happened to be my daughter. to certain moments, and it's kind of like, oh, it was vicariously a lot of fun.
That's when you take your arm around from her and say, I don't know her.
No,
Nope,
because I
don't know
could. It was more like she was making these noises, and it was like people around going, yeah, yeah, we're with you, but
Nice.
we're just too Canadian, polite, and quiet.
Canadian.
Nice.
But I will
So-
say, without any spoilers, what you want is great scenes between characters, a complex but not ridiculous plot, interesting twists, all the kind of stuff you'd really hope for is there, and great scenes like between different kinds of characters. They keep throwing different ones together at different times, and
Yeah.
so much fun.
Well,
And
they
that's
had to
not-
put all
that's
those
not spoilery.
personalities together, you know?
And they found a good way to do it.
Indeed,
Nice.
it's like our raids.
Mhm.
So I'm curious because, as some people know, I live in Montana. So our movie theaters are
Oh,
like
you're going to have stalkers now.
20 years old. So do you guys have the movie theaters? Now, maybe JobUi doesn't because he lives in one of those areas. But do you have the movie theaters that have the really comfy seats and you got to have a reservation in order to
Yep.
get into the movie?
Yes.
Yeah, well, we go to a place that has some of the newer buildings. Like when it's a first movie like Avengers or something like that, we go out to the theater that's got the reserved seats and the reclining chairs.
Yep.
And then on other days, we just go to the revamped old movie theater that just has movie seats and bars, bars so you can eat. But yeah, we save the special theater for the special event.
Yeah, they do reserve seating, and they serve you food and alcohol at ours.
Yeah,
see-
we do that. We have the shaky seats. I tried those once, and I will never do them again.
We have a too small theater with hard seats that is kept as cold as a refrigerator. It's pretty
Right?
great.
Oh,
That's
gosh,
the way ours
no.
are. Yeah, it's like, I mean, they actually put it steps up now instead of it all being flat on the ground. No, I'm just kidding. We have stadium seating, but it's. I know. I got blown away. I went out to Spokane on my way out to my Alaska cruise, and it was my son's birthday, and we were going to see the new Captain America movie, the last one that was out, and we walked up and they're like, "Yeah, we'd like to go see the Captain America," and they're like, "Oh, do you have reservations?" I'm like, "What?
What?
Reservations?" And he goes, "Hold on," and he goes, "Tick, tick, tick, tick," and he looks down and he goes, "Oh, you'll be the only ones in the theater. Where would you like to sit?"
Yeah,
Nice.
that's what happens to our regular theater on Sunday morning. Sometimes we're like 5 or 6 people, and that's all.
But where I used to live, we had theaters that were really nice like that, and then we moved here, and now we just have a really small, crappy theater in my town. There is a fairly decent theater about 45 minutes away if I want to drive a distance, but I typically don't. I'll just go see it at the theater here in town, and then later I will watch it in 4K resolution on my screen and at home in a comfy chair, and while I'm sipping a beer or something, and it's great.
See, and I really think that's the way it's going to go, where you can get on demand at your home, and the TVs are getting bigger and cheaper, and surround sound at your home and all that. I mean, I know that's been a thing for a while, but with streaming, I'm telling you, I think everything's going that way.
Well, I'll tell you this much. I mean, I've watched 3D movies at the theater, and that's okay, but there is absolutely nothing like watching a 3D movie in a VR headset.
Yes.
It's so awesome. It's so cool. And so yeah, I really enjoy watching like the 3D versions of movies on my Oculus. That's such a cool experience.
My my buddy that lives in New York, he does like a once a week movie night where you join him and everybody's on their Oculus and they all join him, and then he plays a movie from his theater collection.
Nice.
Yeah, and he says it works great. So you don't even have to be, literally this is where I'm saying this is going, is you don't even have to be in the same town or go to the same person's place to watch a movie. You can just put on your Oculus set, sit in the comfort of your own home, and watch a movie with all your buddies, and they're all talking during the movie. I mean, it's not like you can't talk to them. They're all connected.
Yeah, you can like turn to each other and be like, shh.
Yeah.
But you can't kick the seat of the person in front of you.
Or throw popcorn at them.
Yeah,
You
see,
can't
there's
give somebody
a couple
free
downsides.
popcorn
Oh,
and a drink.
virtual popcorn.
That's what you go.
Ah.
Yeah.
Wow, our tangent, guys.
Mhm.
Well, it's just a prediction for the future. I mean, think about it. I watched, I'm not kidding you guys. So I didn't raid Friday because I wasn't feeling good. So I was watching TV as you guys are raiding, and guess what movie I watched?
What?
War Games.
World of Warcraft?
Oh
No.
my gosh.
War
Saving
Games.
Private
Wow,
Ryan.
that's an older
You-
one.
Somebody still plays that movie somewhere?
You want to talk about, it was on Prime. You want to talk about watching it and going, oh my God, that's a 5 1/4 inch floppy disk he's putting in there.
Exactly.
I mean, it was incredible to see
You
that
just lost
old
all our
technology.
young viewers. They're going,
You're like,
I know, they're
I
going,
bet,
They're like, what are they talking
That thing
about?
he-
you're like,
Why
I
are
bet
they
that
6-inch
supercomputer
floppies?
has 64 megabytes of RAM.
Yeah.
Why were they 4
The
5
Whopper.
1/4 and not 6-inch floppies? That's
Yeah,
what I was wondering.
Whopper. Yeah, I remember that movie.
I know, it was so great. And he actually had the telephone connection for the internet. Well, it wasn't even the internet. He was doing dialing. So he
Did it do
connected
that?
his phone.
Dial.
He connected his phone in the phone modem, the old ones that you had to put the phone in. It was like,
Yeah, the rubber
that is-
cups.
Yeah, the rubber cups. It was like, oh my
Dad,
God.
hang up the phone. Not that I know what that's about.
It was so great. And then you guys are up there playing, going through the first set of.
You know what I
bosses,
want
and
on
I was just
virtual
like, this is
reality? World of Warcraft.
Yeah, I would like to play with that a little bit, but I don't see it as a feasible like way of playing the game, unfortunately. I wish it was, but I can't
If
think
the
of how that would
keyboard
work.
moved with you, like it
Yeah,
slid and moved with you, and you get to use
Yeah.
your keys.
It would be so difficult to do that without causing motion sickness. Moving around in VR is a tricky prospect. It's a
I
tough
don't
thing.
know. I've never done it, but it sounds like amazing.
It is amazing, but it's tricky. Like, I mean, you put yourself in a vehicle, you may not have any problem at all, but you like walk around without actually moving your feet, and you might get so sick that you have to lay down. I mean, it
I think
it
that would
can
happen with me.
Yeah.
it happens in some instances and it doesn't in others, and they're getting a lot better at it these days. It's getting more interesting as far as how locomotion works in VR. But I tell you, that's a huge topic,
Yeah.
and I'm sure I don't want to step on anybody's toes and have anybody like shoot me like hate mail because they're like, VR locomotion is awesome. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but it can be messed up sometimes.
But
Now, they
imagine
were
if you had-
rolling credits, and the way the movie screen was curved, if I looked down or I tried to read or move my head, I got really dizzy. So that was just credit scrolling.
Now, imagine what would happen if you had to actually go through motions to do things like casting spells or, say, shooting. People would,
Yeah.
like, never use bows because it'd be like, all night I'm just standing up there, moving my arms back and forth, trying to kill this boss.
Oh, nobody
Yeah.
would be a warrior either. I got to swing a damn sword every time.
Even if you were doing, because there are platformer style games and stuff, even if you were doing that stuff where it's like keyboard and mouse, it would still be really kind of it'd be kind of interesting because I mean, one, you wouldn't be able to look at your keyboard for really, which a lot of people still have to glance down at their keyboard every now and again. But it can. I think it would be really cool to be able to like fly around or like maybe like ride the tram from Stormwind to Ironforge or something. That would be kind of neat to like walk around or go around like some of the cities and look at them from the perspective of
What
a
if they
character.
made Blizzard World but VR?
Yeah. Well, there are some people that have taken it and like put it in the Unreal Engine. Like I've seen where people have been converting Blizzard stuff
See?
to the Unreal Engine, but
There we go.
I don't know. But actually playing the game, like I couldn't imagine raiding in VR. That would be
Oh, Jesus. No.
The
crazy.
nightmare. You think people mess up
Oh.
now?
Oh, I know. Yeah, just whip your camera around the other direction. Blah!
Tap would scream and pee herself.
Yeah.
That's a vision I can't get out of my head.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, let's move on. Let's find out how we did in this weekend's raid. JoeBui?
All right, so this week we tried it a little different, where we skipped doing Argus on normal and we just went straight for heroic. And what a night on our Friday night raid! We blasted through Guidotti, Fellhounds, ENR, Portal Keeper, and High Command. All like before break. We did High Command, I think, just before we did our break. And then we took our break. We came back. We did Iminar, Kingaroth, and went on to Varimathras. And on Varimathras, we had a couple of little hiccups in that. Maybe folks were getting tired. Maybe they were getting liquored up. But we, we got.
I vote for the second one.
Yeah, it's probably the second one. But we had a few mess ups. And then we called it because that was the end of the evening. Came back on Saturday night and took down Varimathras in one shot. And then it took a long while, but on the last pull of the evening, we got down Agrimar on heroic.
Yay!
Yay.
That was
Hey,
great
Yeah.
that
news.
was my prediction, but
Yes.
1 week off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a week off.
And it was there was a steady progression throughout most of it. Like, I mean, from the first pull and the second pull got a little bit better, and then a little bit better in third and fourth and fifth and sixth. And our eighth pull was like not great. Things went wrong on the eighth pull. Our ninth pull was again a slight improvement over some of the previous ones. And then finally on the last one, everybody pulled it together, and we managed to get the kill. I even died twice on that one. I got cleaved by the boss once, and then we had a double bump of the ads going in. Two ads overlapped a little bit on that, creating a great big debuff. That's what killed me the second time. But we still managed to survive it, and we finished them off. So that's pretty
And
cool.
I want to give a huge shout out to our healers for that, because they did the absolute amazing healing.
Oh my gosh.
When those two
It
went
was
off.
really
It was
rough.
incredible.
Like, we had help. We did have that extra person. I believe it was Faye's son that was helping us, and
Yeah.
it was tremendously a great help. I'm not gonna say that we're awesome. We did all our own. We had that extra person, and they were amazing. They were topping the charts. And I mean, it was a panic moment, but I think because we didn't panic and we just said, okay, extra heals, there's 2 debuffs, and everybody was just like, okay, we toppled it on. But if you want to see just that fight itself, I cut it and put it on YouTube so you can see our kill.
What people also then need to look at the very end is there's a tank whoopsie.
Oh yeah,
Just
it's
at the
in there.
end, which was just about to kill us all or kill half the raid, and then he switched back into the middle, and it was one of those things where he wasn't facing the right direction, and we were all going to wipe. It was game over, and it changed phases.
My panic face. You get to see that.
I will say this, due to the amount of like raid leading on that, it's like an absolutely abysmal DPS showing for me on that one. Just pathetic. I was like less than half my normal DPS.
There's just so much you have to manage.
Yeah. I know. I'll get more used to it. I wrote some weak cores in the midst of the raid, to kind of help me out and remind me.
He has a
another factor though is that people are getting better and better at their own ad management or subbing in for people if something happened, and so because that got better, I think your life probably got a little easier as you went along, Jobui. And certainly from a tanking perspective, I wasn't getting nervous about they're running into my space, for example, and I could maneuver them around the large ads, especially around a little bit more without fear of disaster.
Well, except for Tappuccino. I'm sorry. Tappuccino, she's like, I'm dead again. And Charity's like, that's because you stood in front of the boss again.
I was getting so frustrated.
Yeah, she did a little bit better after that.
Like, don't stand in front of the boss.
She just didn't understand when the boss moves, if you're underneath his feet, it's done. You're being cleaved. She didn't realize that. Once Joe actually told everyone they could stay so far back, it was so much better. Because if we hadn't been so far back when that oopsie happened, we would have all died.
No, yeah.
Yeah, I think that helped quite a bit for a lot of players. And typical of our raid group, now that we've got it down, I think people will relax a little as they go into that raid.
Not too much.
Not too much, no, but a little bit, so they're making less panic mistakes. Because there's a lot of panic mistakes that happened throughout the night. People standing on top of each other for some of the little scorching, bursting things.
Yeah, let me just apologize for the cussing.
Cappuccino did it.
Yeah.
For the cussing of "Get off of me" in my stream.
Yeah. And I just think they'll dodge stuff better. I think they'll avoid the damage, and they've seen it all now. They know what it's like, so they're not.
Yeah, that's totally right. That's what's happened with Kingaroth, right? Because Kingaroth was, people were making all kinds of mistakes, and there's little errors, little problems, and it's like once you start to get that feel for the fight, once you get the dance steps down, you're just less likely to be stepping on each other's toes or into each other's personal toon space.
You realize the sections that you're gonna end up on top of each other. There's no, if we're covered in circles and we're all trying to get away from the circles and we both happen to get the debuff, or one of us does, then it's going to happen, and you don't get angry. But when you're just kind of hanging out and somebody decides, I'm just going to walk across you.
Yeah, it can be frustrating for sure. I'm excited to see how we do with it next week. Having gotten one kill under our belt and going back there and seeing it again. Because I honestly think everybody's going to do a much cleaner job of it. It's going to be fun and interesting to see. I also liked that we just started at Heroic. I think that gave us the time we needed to get Agremar down this week.
Yeah, because we had over an hour to work on it.
Yeah, well over an hour. And
it just takes so long to switch over.
It does. It takes an extra time to switch over, and I think honestly, if we just sometimes if we can just tidy up a few of the transitions here and there between bosses, just get there a little bit quicker and cleaner. I was trying to move things along quite a bit on Friday, as from boss to boss, as quickly as possible, but I think we could even improve that a little bit, and we could get through Veramathras and just be starting off our Saturday on Agremar, and hopefully get Agremar and Argus down next week.
I gotta say, how amazing and fast we're running? My daughter joined us. She's done it on LFR. She only stuck around for the first 3 bosses because she started to freak out at the pace we were moving at. Like, to her credit, she didn't die once, but she was like, "Where are they all going? Another move, another." And so you're just hearing her constant monologue of, "This is crazy, and how do you people do this? And this is insane." And I'm like, "Oh no, we're kind of chill.
This is normal.
We're just moving through.
We're just
here.
hanging
This isn't a
out.
big deal. It's not mythic. What are you complaining
She did
about?"
great though.
Yeah,
She did
well,
hang in there.
Yeah, she stayed with
never
us.
got killed. Yeah, up until the 3rd boss, and her gear score went up about 15 points, and her DPS is about
She got like
50%.
what, every piece of gear that she needed
Well,
to
yeah,
roll
because
on.
nobody else wanted them, right? But the other thing too is then we went through and said, okay, so let's seriously look at your, gems and enchants and talents and all that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, we've picked up her game quite a bit.
Cool.
Nice.
Whether she wants to join us again, you never know. She needs
Nice.
a Valium or something before starting.
Oh, jeez.
Drug your kids.
You
Yeah.
think, adolescent teenager energy? No, she's like, no, we're all gonna die.
But I was looking at it, and it was like, now we cleared trash up to Guidotti, and then we had Guidotti down 5 minutes after raid official start time. We had Fellhounds down 10 minutes later. We had ENR down 15 minutes after that. We had Portal Keeper down 15 minutes after that. It was actually 14 minutes. So we had a really good pace right up until we did break, and then it kind of
Everybody relaxed.
yeah. Well, we did Iminar just fine, and then it was really only about 15 minutes to Kingaroth, but then like from Kingaroth to Varamathras, for some reason that went slower. Maybe it was just the trash in that hallway and stuff. It's just kind of a lot of trash there.
I think we had a couple switch outs too, though.
Yeah, we might have had some switch outs or something, but it was. But the first part was like it was just like clockwork. We were just moving,
Yeah.
And it should be with those fights. I mean, like the first 4, we should just be able to get through without any problems at all.
Yeah, and I'm trying to do the loot trades faster, and it's helping with that. I think folks are like starting to link it up without me having to ask right away. Sometimes I miss them, which people let me know if I do, but I'm trying to get through those quicker. I'm like, anybody want this? And okay, next one. Anybody want this? Kind of thing. And
Well,
and
yeah,
we're
you're getting to that point now where those people already have those, or nobody, or what it is isn't better than what they already have. So
I do find it interesting. We get to Varamathras though, and there's like one thing maybe.
No loot trade.
No loot trades going up. I
You can tell the bosses we need.
Yeah. Well, that's partly why I really want to push for those too, is because
That's what's going to progress us. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's where it's at for us right now. And I looked it up, and I think we have 15 more raids officially until the next expansion. So
clock's ticking. I was wondering about the mythics when we got. I mean, the first couple of bosses on mythic we probably wouldn't have too much trouble with even now, but yeah, we're gonna get there.
Well, here's the issue with mythics, though. With mythics, you have to have 20 people.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know they nailed it down.
Yeah. Yes.
Quite so tightly.
Yeah. So there's going to be people that are going to have to sit out, something like that, if we go on to mythics. So Durag and I talked about this in length the other day, and because I didn't know that either, and I was like, oh wow, that really throws a kink in it. But I think what we can do is, instead of doing it on a regular raid night, we'll do like a Sunday or something. We'll vote and pick a night, but we'll pick a different night just to try mythics and get 20 people. But if there's 24 people, 25 people, that's fine. But we'll put the composition together with just 20 people, and then that way there's no hurt feelings or anything like that. It's not going to be like a tryout, but it'll be like only the people that want to do it have to try it. Because if we do it on a regular raid night, there's going to be people that are going to get hurt feelings because they're not doing well enough, and there's people that may have sat out that should have been in. You follow what I'm saying? It
gets tough, especially with a group as large as ours, and having to bench people is never fun.
Right.
I was actually thinking that, because there's 15 weeks left, and once we start getting Agrimar and Argus down in heroic on a pretty weekly schedule, you know, where we're doing it like every week. You know, I mean, there are 15 weeks left. I was thinking possibly even start just proposing doing some alt nights with folks where, you know, we do runs through normal, and then as far as we can get in heroic, because we'll probably still blast through normal even with our alts, because we're all so familiar with it. And, you know, like, because there might be players who are looking at the next expansion going, you know, hey, maybe I'd like to play my warrior in the next expansion.
Sure, yeah.
Or maybe I want to play my rogue or something. And they want to get them geared up and ready for leveling in the next expansion. And, you know, I thought maybe that might be an interesting thing. We did that at the end of Warlords of Draenor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd like to do that.
We will need to have people who are very comfortable with tanking, because there's a few technical pieces that get really annoying if you're not on top of your game. But other things should be doable.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Well, I
a
think
tank. I'm the best.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I've got a
some
tank. I think I
reliable
could.
tanks.
I could tank some of it. I'm sure.
I'm just pulling your legs.
No,
It's
I'm
the
just saying,
healers I'm worried about.
Yeah, because I mean, I've got a healer that can crank out lots, and it's you know, being able to get better at your rotation and knowing that and developing the skills generally are good. It's the running from here and running to there, and then yeah, a few pieces together, like this fight that we're doing right now. There's a learning curve.
And you know, when we did alt nights back in Warlords of Draenor, I mean, there was some fights where we would hit them, and it was just, you know, we would get there and things were not going well, and then I would say, I'm gonna go get JobUi, and I'd go get JobUi, and maybe one or two other people might swap to their main, and then we would clobber the boss, and then move on to the next one. You know, so
Yeah, pull out the magic when you need it.
yeah, I mean, we've got these hardcore, you know, well, I mean, hardcore for us anyway, these well-geared tunes that we've got them in our back pocket, and if we run into a roadblock in our alt nights, we can pull them out and run them through the boss we're having trouble with.
Yeah, definitely. We could do it either
Draenor.
way.
I
Draenor?
heard that.
What?
Draenor.
I love it.
Draenor? I'm sorry, it was
No, it just was cool. I
Draenor.
don't care how you say it. Like I said, you can call me whatever.
Yeah, you say Draenei wrong, so
I
Yeah,
do
think
too.
so, yeah.
See, I probably do. just made me
Warcraft
happy.
pronunciation shaming. It's a great
I know. Oh, I know. I'm probably getting tons of hate mail right now.
Well, I
I'll
think it would
just
be
say-
cool because Charity could play her hunter, and I could play my
Mhm.
healer and then not
Yep.
heal her.
Ooh.
Whatever. I told you. I've been making it a goal to keep you alive in every fight.
Then why is it that Tap's always standing next to me, killing me?
She was padding her numbers, I'm telling you, man.
I
She's padding that one.
cannot
She
control
said
that woman.
explicitly.
Yeah, I mean, she was like standing next to you, killing you, and healing you as fast as she could.
She does that.
Nice. It's so she can stay on top, yeah.
Yeah.
You only hurt the one you heal.
Especially
Yeah.
last night, we had to outbeat Faye's son. He was pumping it.
Yeah.
And he's a mythic raider.
That's why,
and he's
yeah.
mythic gear.
I
yeah.
know. It's like being a DPS and playing with Pucky. I mean,
Yeah, he brings the numbers, that's for sure.
mhm.
Yeah, I mean, he was on our kill last night on Agrimar. I mean, in the logs, he's coming in at 1.365 million heals per second, and our second place heals was all taken at 957,000. So
Isn't
not even
that
breaking
crazy?
a million. So I mean, he was really pushing the numbers.
Oh,
quite a
yeah.
bit.
He did
And
great.
that was
We
awesome.
really
I mean,
appreciate the
that-
help.
Yeah, definitely helped. Especially when we got hit with two of the little creatures.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and that I honestly, you know, like as far as progression goes, I felt like I was getting better and better at releasing those and
Yes.
marking them and
Oh,
stuff.
It was
you're
going
learning
much
too.
smoother, Yeah.
Oh yeah, that is a raid leader check. That fight
Yep.
is for
Well,
sure.
it was funny because you went down and Pucky just stepped right up, and I thought that was fantastic.
He was so
And he was
excited.
really-
I get to call.
Yeah, and then I took it right back away from
Yeah,
him.
nah, just kidding.
Bowie's like, I've had enough of this being on the bench. Res me. I'm coming back in. Go, coach.
Well, I looked at the reses and we had like 20 seconds left, and we were about to head to another ad phase, and I was like, nah, screw it. Get me up, tanks. Be on your toes.
It was also good timing because that's actually the less damage for tanks face. So it's the best time too.
I do want to. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, then I got killed when I got killed by the double whammy of the ads going in, because I was just too far away when that was going down, so the healers couldn't hit me as well. So then I was like sitting over there and I was waiting, and he jumped in for me a little bit to help out with releasing some, and then we had a res left, so I was like, yeah, go ahead and res me. I want to be alive for the end of the fight.
All right, so I do have to admit that on all 8 polls that we did, we killed him on the 9th poll, right?
10th.
10th. Okay, so for the first 9 polls, I was alive the entire time, each time. But on the one we died on, I was one that went down and never got back up.
Yeah, 2 minutes and 48 seconds. Yep.
Yes.
You're the sacrifice we're still willing to make.
Yes, exactly.
I told you we wouldn't have killed it without Stafford.
See, and I thought never mind.
It was still a great raid overall.
It was.
It was really nice to see some progression out of the group. And for us to I know it was a little bit of bang our heads against this boss, but
I don't really think so though, because I never got the sense people were getting that frustrated.
Oh, yeah. You don't want to watch my live stream?
Well, maybe not everyone, but I think there was, like I said, there was a little bit of progress with each pull for the most part. There was one pull that was a backward step, but the rest of them were a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better.
Well, it wasn't bad enough that we felt like we weren't getting anywhere. It was still fun. It was still progression.
Mm-hmm. And I honestly think that, I don't think that Argus is going to take us that long. So I think if we get there next week and if we can get Agrimar down, a little bit earlier in the night, with fewer tries, and we get onto Argus, I could easily see us getting through Argus on a single pull. It's really not that different.
I don't think we'll do it.
I don't think
you don't
so.
Think so?
The last phase with the circles and all of the DPS, all of the pain that we're going to be taking with all the circles on the ground. You think we walk on each other now?
Yeah, but
that's not walking on top of each other. That's just dodging circles.
No, but I don't think people are going to move enough because they can't move off of each other.
See, I have to agree with JoBui. We've got enough hunters and mobility on our DPS that's not an issue. The issue is when we have the mobility and we keep all running to the same spot tap and killing.
Stop it!
Is this pick on tap night?
It is, because I'm telling you, it was like
you can't tell he's
3 times
angry.
in a row that Tap came over to me when she starts going boom, boom, boom. I'm like, Tap!
It's how
you better hope she doesn't listen to this podcast.
But the thing is, though, I as long as everybody focuses on taking down the orbs when they come up and doesn't tunnel vision on the boss when they come up, and by that I mean when I say orbs, I'm talking about their reorigination modules or whatever they are. As long as they focus on those and get those down, which we've done a whole lot of times on normal, it's all the only differences in heroic versus normal is that the damage is a little bit higher. The boss has a little bit more health. During the big the little sea and sky buffs that we get at the beginning, those don't last as long. The big ads, when we kill the big ads, and that's just what we're fighting is the ads, they move around a bit more and they do more damage, and they can also only be interrupted like once every 20 seconds. So you have to make sure you only interrupt the cosmic beacon. It's not that big a deal. And then that's it for changes. I mean, that's the end of them. So the last phase is exactly the same as we've been doing. It's just a little bit harder as far as like the numbers go, and we've done it so many times. I mean, I was looking yesterday, and as of this morning when I looked, I have 100 heroic kills and 111 normal kills. That was primarily done with this group, so we've done most of that together. That's a lot of experience, and that's not just on Argus. That's across the whole raid, but we've got a lot of experience under our belt with that fight. and I think everybody will handle it very, very
I
well.
think it's doable.
I've been
Yeah.
more worried about other heroic fights and less about Argus. If there's not a lot of mechanics just hitting harder, yeah, I think we're just gonna go right back into our wheelhouse and rock it.
Yeah. I think the one
Say
thing we'll
2
have to watch out
weeks.
for is the soul blights. Get the damn soul blights out, people.
See,
Jeez.
it's stuff like that where people
That's
are
why
watching.
I'm
yeah.
afraid to. That's why I was afraid to stop doing Argus in the first place. I know we don't necessarily need it, but I feel like as soon as we get laxed, our practice goes out the window, and we still drop stuff when we do it every week.
No, the same couple of people have been doing that every week, and they just have to be on the ball is all.
Well,
it was different people from week to week, but then we had like 3 weeks where it was the same people that kept doing it. So,
well, I think what we should do is we just stick with the plan that we've got. We'll start off on heroic and try to get to Argus, and do that for a couple of weeks. And if here we did. This is the first week trying it. We got Agrimar down, so I think that was a good plan. Now, if we can do this next week and get Agrimar down, since we've got all that experience on it now, and then hit a couple of times on Argus, yeah, I'm not saying we're going to get it down the first time. I don't feel confident enough. I think it'll get really close. I think we'll get, quite far on it. But then I think if we can get that close, I think we should just stick with the same plan we've been doing. If not, we could always bounce back and, kill Argus and then jump in and then skip like the first. Well, you can't skip the first one, Guidotti, but you can skip to like the third, fourth, and fifth boss or something like that.
yeah, we can skip quite a bit of it. We can skip all the way to Iminar.
Yeah,
is what we can skip to.
And then we can, and then because we don't need to redo those fights necessarily on heroic, because I think people have the gear they need. It's just as you're getting up in the higher ones. But we'll work with that when we get there.
You know what makes me think that we'll down it in one shot is that the last few weeks the tree's still been up when we're finishing the fight.
Yeah,
it's not even withering. People aren't dying. They're dodging stuff. There are people dying every now and again, but it's nowhere near like it was. And people, that fight is pretty much we line up and we get ready and we go, we kill, we're out of there. And even when people have been screwing it up, we're still nailing it down. So
are we making predictions?
Yeah, I'll say we're gonna get Argus down next week.
I say we're gonna have some little bit of trouble on our progression boss that we did this week, and then we'll get like a whack or two at Argus.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we'll get Argus down in 2 weeks.
All right. Tank.
Yeah, I'm back and forth. I think I'd go for weeks on this one, only because I suspect Jobui's experiences have been with people who have fairly strong gear for healing, which covers a multitude of sins that I think we're probably going to commit.
So you're blaming the healers again?
No.
If I heard I didn't get any heals one more time.
No, I'm saying...
Good I don't stream because on Friday I was saying that.
the sins are the raid members and the tanks taking more damage than they should.
Hey, I didn't get enough heals, but I didn't cry about it. And I didn't, because I knew why. It was my own fault because I was on the other side of the platform far away from the healers. So that's why I didn't get the heals.
I do want to bring this up, though. I thought it was just totally hilarious. And it may be Canadian talk, but every time our tank said, he was talking to the other tank, he's talking to Durag, but every time he said, I'll take it, I was like, what's wrong with All Taken? I kept looking over at All Taken. I was thinking he was dying. I was like, why does he keep saying All Taken? Oh, wait, I'll take it.
He does. He says that. It did. The first few times I thought he said the same thing.
Okay, my switch word from here on is going to be Fafford's down.
Well, that might be true, though.
Yeah, he'll be on the ground. I'll be like, that was so 10 minutes ago.
Been there, done that again. And
I keep thinking when we're on Guidotti, and I'm not sure if it's Dorn, somebody will start calling out the say floor. And with all the other stuff going on, I always think they're saying lore, and I'm like, I'm not on it. Stop calling me out. I'm not on the yellow.
That's funny. All right. Well, I think we've got our predictions. Oh, I didn't say mine. I have to agree with Charity. I think we're going to have a little bit of problems on Agrimar. Not get him down as fast, and we'll get 1, maybe 2 polls on Argus, but I don't think we'll get him down.
You know, my big fear now, though, is we're setting JoBui up for a really big I Told You So next week.
That's all right. I don't mind.
Or I'm setting you
JoBui
guys up for
yeah.
the I Told You So,
Oh,
which will be a happy occasion, because then we can talk
Yes.
about how we defeated Argus on Heroic.
Exactly.
Nice.
I don't mind it when he's right. Because he's usually pushing us. Yeah. So, all right. So, is there anything new anybody's learned this week about WoW, Charity?
So I have a few things that I wanted to let everybody know. These are things that some people have talked about a little bit, but if you may not know already, they have introduced the orcs and the dwarves into the PTR. So the I forget what they're called exactly. You guys can correct me.
The iron dwarves?
Iron dwarves and the
And
what orcs?
Pink orcs? I don't know.
The brown.
The Market Larker.
Yeah.
Market Larker orcs.
They're on the
It's
other
very
side.
exciting.
We don't
Yes.
really care.
So, and as far as we know, they're supposed to come out with the expansion, but that's all hearsay. We don't talk about that. So all we know is that orcs and dwarves are on the PTR right now. So they're obviously going to be out with the expansion at some point. And then we also found out that at 116 in the expansion is when the legendary skills that you gain from your legendaries will stop working. So they're going to be helpful until you hit 116. So that's a good bit of news that I was very happy to know about because I was wondering that. And another good bit of news is that most of the cooldowns are going to be acting as cooldowns. So every spell is going to be acting as a cooldown at some way. They haven't decided how they're going to implement that, but every spell except for things like interrupts are going to be on a cooldown. So we'll see how that goes. And I have one last, 2 things actually. One, I've been working on my survival hunter tower, and I'm getting really far, so I'll be posting some more videos doing that. Hopefully I'll get that down this week when the mage tower goes back up. I get to the last part of it, and I'm having trouble with the CCing of the ads. I have to slow them a little bit better, but I'm gonna get it. It's a little hard playing a melee hunter. I'm not very good at it. So if you want to watch some of that, that'll be on my Twitch stream this week. And my big announcement is, one, I want to apologize because I've been a little MIA lately. I have some things going on and I haven't been feeling very well, and I found out that I am pregnant, and that is why I have been kind of MIA, and that's why I tried to get Tap to fill in for me last week, but I guess something came up with her, and but I apologize for my MIA-ness, but the reasoning is that I am pregnant and I've been sore and tired and morning sickness and night sickness and day sickness and all sickness. Not fun, but you guys are the first place other than family we've announced. We have one more family member to tell, but they should know by the time the podcast goes out, and I ask that you don't post anything on social media until I put the announcement on the Facebook page, and I will be putting it on every one of my pages as well as the Lions Pride Tavern page.
Well, congratulations.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
And
Another
try Ginger.
WoW raid team member coming.
I
Nice.
know! In training!
In training.
Try Ginger. That can help with your morning sickness.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm drinking ginger ale and it has helped a lot. I've got a routine of laying in bed while I eat crackers, and I feel like a fat person, but you know.
You
It
will
works.
feel more like a fat person as it
I
progresses.
I am only 5 weeks right now, so it's
Wow.
about to get crazy. But the sickness has been horrible, and the soreness has been horrible.
Well, it does get easier though after about
3 kids?
I was gonna say 18 years, but no, it doesn't get easier.
Doesn't get
Still
easier,
doesn't
no.
get easy.
Well, we are both excited to be parents, so
Awesome. Well,
It
congratulations.
is delightful.
thank you.
We totally need to get her a Lions Pride Tavern blankie.
Oh,
For the
yes, for my
baby, right?
baby.
Or onesie.
Yes.
Hmm.
Or onesie, yeah.
That would be amazing. Where do I get one of those?
Oh, well, we'll just have to make one.
Okay.
Because I know our digital artist, Donna Bell, is fantastic at doing these drawings
She
and
would
stuff.
do an amazing
Yes.
baby drainer.
Now, you don't know that's what she's going to play. She could play a Dwarven Hunter.
Or he.
Or
We
he.
don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Are you going to find out?
I will be doing a reveal party, and I'll be posting the video and
Okay.
the pictures when we find out. So yes, we will be finding out, but we will not be finding out at the doctor. We're doing a reveal party.
Awesome. Well, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I love
Yay! And you guys were the first to know publicly.
it. Oh, awesome.
Sweet.
That's cool.
Tap
that just-
cried. I told her, she's the only one I told because I needed her to fill in for me.
Right.
And she cried. She's like, I'm sorry, I'm crying right now. I'm like, oh my god. I'm the one that's supposed to be emotional. That's also why I've been so irritable. And I want to apologize right now to everybody for that.
What?
Because
You've been irritable?
I've been irritable.
I hadn't noticed.
No.
Oh, you want to talk? JoBui had to talk to me about something. And I was crying and I was mad. I was like, I don't want to talk about it right now. I'm done.
Oh, that would explain that, actually.
Yeah, you feel a little better about my reaction now?
Well, I was like, wow, that seemed way more intense than what I felt like it was going to be.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I totally understand now.
He was doing his raid leader job and inquiring about something that I needed to work on, because everybody should be able to take critical criticism. I did not take it very well because I was, yeah.
Emotional.
I'm sorry, Joe.
That's
I'm
okay.
very sorry.
I was like, wow, all right. Well, that did not
that's
go
okay.
as well as I'd hoped, but I think she
Yeah.
understands what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
she listens-
okay. I was standing in the middle of work the other day and I couldn't pick up a shelf and I started crying because I couldn't pick up a shelf.
Aw.
Yeah, I'm crying over everything. I thought I'm an emotional person already. And it's just over the top.
What?
Yeah.
So-
I was just
You don't
we were
say.
sitting at lunch eating and laughing and I started crying. No reason.
So my
Yeah.
impression of you as a stoic is misplaced.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay, thanks for the clarity.
So you didn't listen to last week's podcast then?
I did, and I would just like to say I appreciate you guys playing me to pretend
We're
that I
pretty
was
close,
here
right?
because you missed me. It was so close. I couldn't tell the difference.
It's just like the real thing.
I
used to do that
know.
to Tap all the time.
I know
Yeah.
it did. It made me feel good because you were thinking about me.
Yes,
it
we
felt
were.
great.
All right, guys, we need to move on. I hear the music. It's time for Lorelei's Pet Battle Minute.
Hello, everyone. The beta for Battle of Azeroth is now running, and community manager Kyvax has some news for us about the new expansion. Pet battle quests will soon begin showing up on both continents, and like in Legion, they will count toward emissary reputation. This time around, however, the level of the pets opposing you will scale to the highest level pet on your team. This will allow players with only level 1 pets to complete daily world quests. And this is something I'm looking forward to. So no more going back to Cataclysm or Pandaria to start leveling pets. You can do it as soon as the expansion kicks in. Blizzard has confirmed that the new pet currency will be used, so go ahead and keep using your pet charms. Still a good idea to use them to buy level tokens and other tokens to make them rares. No word yet on what they will be called, but once new pet battles start up, I'll have more news on that. New pet mechanics are coming as well. These new attacks will show up on enemy pets as well as our own pets. A few examples will include a powerful spell that summons a random weather effect, several additions to heals that will have increased effects based on your pet's health, and aura effects that will heal your pet or the enemy pet based on the last hit dealt. There will also be some changes to pet attacks. Bone Serpent's Call Darkness and Liftoff are changing positions. The Crow and Gilnean Raven will lose 200 power but gain 200 speed. And I think that'll be pretty nice. Cyclone damage will change from a set number to a random range number. Haunt will now return only 50% of your pet's health rather than 100%, and the Terror Claw's dodge and Nature's Ward attacks will occupy the same tier. Those two attacks have been used together since the beginning, and we'll have to see how that affects its use in battle. And I will keep you informed on more changes as the beta continues.
Very cool. So, yeah, wasn't there like a winning team of like Gilnean ravens or just straight up crows, 3 of each, and they could pretty much kick anybody's butt?
They could, yeah. The Gilnean crow especially is super good. So to get that, everybody, just make a Worgen on any server and get it. You buy it. You buy it at the vendor, and then you're good to go. So, but I'm really excited about the level 1 pet thing because they've been doing that with the Gnomeregan pet battle dungeon. And I admit I haven't done that dungeon in a long time, and I haven't tried it with a level 1 pet, but that's really interesting that you're going to be able to go in and do new pet tamers for world quests with level 1 pets.
That is going to be so fun. I'm super excited.
That's going to be so neat.
All right, and next up we have
Getting Deeps with JobUi.
A few times in the past, I've mentioned sims or simming tunes. Simming your tune is pretty much what it sounds like. It will simulate your character in a raid-like scenario in order to calculate data that you can then use to improve your DPS. There are a couple of different options available these days. The first is Simulation Craft. Simulation Craft is free software that you can download and install on your PC to run simulations. Another option is raidbots.com. Raidbots.com is a website that creates a more user-friendly front end for simming your tune. Raidbots actually uses Simulation Craft on the back end to sim your tune, but gives you a web interface and does calculations on their servers rather than on your computer. Whether you use Simulation Craft or Raidbots, it's also a good idea to pick up SimC, the add-on for WoW as well. That will make importing your tune with the latest information a snap. There's also yet another add-on called SimPermut that helps you take your simming in Simulation Craft a step further. How far you want to go and how deep you want to get into simming is entirely up to you. Simming can provide you with information like custom stat weights for use in add-ons like Pawn that are based on your tune, not a generic version of your class and spec. It can help you figure out if a piece of gear is actually an upgrade or not. It can help you compare different sets of talents to see if one will give you better numbers than another. It can give you a general idea of your maximum potential when it comes to the meters, making it easier to gauge if you're nailing it or not. It can even compare different pieces of gear in your bags to see which will provide you the best increase in DPS. I will include some links on our Facebook page to help you get started. Simming your tune is the more difficult side of character optimization. Raidbots does make it easier for more casual players to do some simming, but even then it can be a bit complex. While simming your tune can be a bit overwhelming at first, once you get used to the process, it can provide a lot of useful information to help you keep getting those deeps.
Very cool. And next up, our tank and address.
What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking in a dress? What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking in a dress?
This week's Come At Me a Tanking Minute. Call it Redux. Last week we talked about tanks not always need to be the raid callers and raid leaders, and that our group doesn't operate that way. Just because you're getting hit doesn't mean you have to be in charge. So sometimes we're saying that for some tanks it's not a good idea to be raid lead. You've got enough things on your plate. Other people can handle all that complexity that gets thrown at you. Well, this week in the heroic Agrimar fight, it was getting pretty clear that my fellow tank was starting to get overloaded. Darg had a pretty heavy job. He had been calling for some weeks when we had to do the tank swap debuff. It's one of those things that if you get wrong, you wipe the raid. So a bit of high stakes. But for him to get overloaded, that's not a usual thing for him. Usually he's able to handle many things at once, but this was, I think, just one more piece of complexity in the fight. Well, the reason for it, if you run a Death Knight, you know that you've got that ability to do a Death Grip and pull mobs in. And doing that actually with some of those small ads that came around helped us really speed up and get a lot more control on how that fight went. So he was switching to pull those in, but it came at a cost. His ability to keep on top of both the tank swap and then the swap where we're back and forth started to get him a little bit rattled. I don't know how I could do that if I was in his situation. It's a little like chewing gum, juggling, and doing calculus at the same time. And as I'm bad at math, I'd be toast. So the fact that he was overloaded was new, and it seemed pretty clear that I needed to then step up and do calling for that section. And that's what we talked about last week. We have a flexible raid group where, you know, if someone's able to have a little sort of rhythm or a little bit of time or some space to think things through, it was easy enough for me to, at that point, know the rhythm and call it up. So I was calling which person was going to carry it, and, you know, I've got it. Or I'll take it, all taken. Caused a little confusion, but still, I'll work out those signals for next time. But that actually then freed up his thinking to figure out how to handle some other mechanics and when he had to run and when not to. That's something that's really helpful in your raid group if you can be flexible and see when can you help out somebody, offer to call something out if it's working for you, it's working for them. You've just added a little bit of smooth butter to the rest of the raid. And that's Come At Me a Taking Minute.
What's wrong with all taken? Do I need to res him? Oh, no, nothing.
No, he's got butter on him.
You know, I gotta say, Epistle, you did a pretty nice job calling the stacking. I did have to jump in a couple of times, but it was helpful that you were trying to keep an eye out on the stat calls too.
Yeah, and most of the time I had it with advance. A couple times it wasn't far enough advance because I was still figuring out whether it was him or me, but that's a rhythm thing.
You know, and I noticed on that fight too. You know, there's things in those calling that as we progressed, I got kind of used to it. It was like I could see the boss does 2 sets of the mechanics, and then we have to stack.
Yeah,
and so it happens that way every time.
So if I'm saying either I've got it or you've got it or whatever signal I'm going to use, by doing that, then everyone knows when that's happening. The stack is coming, you know, a few seconds later.
Yeah, that too.
What's wrong with all taken?
Butter.
Okay, I think I'm good. Thank you for distracting.
And next up,
Baby, you got the heals. Now heal and don't die, 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 die. Heal and don't die, 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 die.
Okay, and this week's Splash into Heals is all about AoE and healing. Something that is important to remember when healing is that every healer has an AoE spell. It is important to know the difference between the AoE spells. Some you want to use constantly, and others you should use with care. The first is constant. This AoE spell is important to keep down at all times. It is a spell kept on the floor of the raid in a specific spot. These heals are for shaman or a druid or a monk. This is the spell that will keep your raid alive when you don't have a chance to, because it's constantly healing on its own. Druids have a healing circle called efflorescence. Shamans have a healing rain and a healing totem stream. Monks have a jade serpent statue. The next AoE is used with care. These AoE heals cost a lot of mana to do the AoE healing, also known as high throughput, which we also learned about in our healing vocabulary. This is so that you can heal a lot of people at the same time quickly, but you want to make sure you're only using these in preserve, because if you run out of mana, you won't have any at the end of the fight to do your job. So always be sure you only use them if you need to. So remember, when using your floor AoE, make sure you're keeping it down at all times to help keep heals up. You will be surprised how much the constant placement and uptime helps when using AoE. With the high throughput, make sure you're not overdoing it, and so you have a ton of mana to keep your peeps alive. And that will take this splash into heals.
And next up we have... It's WFN News, Warcraft Stafford News. The Mage Tower is up next at the Broken Shores with fell treasures and power overwhelming. The weekly event is Time Walking Burning Crusades. Yay! WoW tokens are 198. They went up about 3 to 4K. So they're still creeping. What's really cool this week, starting the day this comes out, Children's Week. Please go visit your favorite orphanage and show them what a hero's life is like. You don't like Children's Week?
I've got one thing left to do, and that's do the PvP. And I can't get through it because as much as they write about, oh, the Horde will let you run through and do it because they know you're trying to complete Children's Week. No, they
don't. No, they don't. They don't.
I almost got there. I got to the top of the last tower in the one PvP I don't mind running, and they just wouldn't let me do it.
You know what they say? You know what they actually say? I played Horde. Oh, it's Children's Week. All the noobs are going to be playing. We need to go do it.
Yeah, they're just trolling you.
Yeah, I hate it. I can't get this achievement, and I probably
But Alliance does it too. So
yeah, they do.
The Alliance does it too. It's not just Horde, because I play both sides.
Too funny. All right, guys, that has been a podcast. Thank you.
Yay.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, we did a great job. So I want to thank Charm for all of her beautiful music. Please go visit her website and her YouTube channel. Links are in the description below. Plus BenSound at bensound.com. Vincent Moretto for our heavy metal tavern music. And all of our panel members tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
See you next week.
Thanks, folks.
See y'all.
See y'all next week.
And they lived happily ever after.
I kissed an orc and I liked it. The taste of his Bulgur chapstick. I kissed an orc just to try it. I hope my ally friends don't mind it. It felt so wrong, it felt so right. Don't mean I'm in love tonight.
Druids have a healing circle called efflorescence, if I said that right. Shamans have a healing rain, as well as a healing totem. I lost my place. Oh my gosh, I'm doing horrible tonight, guys. I'm so sorry.
Now you got to say efflorescence again.
Yes.
I do. The high throughput make... Can I just, get a redo?
It's all right. I wrote down for the instructions, Charity's entire minute.
Yeah. So remember, the high throughput, make sure you're only doing it a little and you're not overdoing it. It is also... I can't read tonight. I can't even read my own writing.
Aren't you going to finish where it says I can't read tonight? I can't read my own writing?
I am not. You guys are bullies.
Oh, that's not... You didn't write that. Oh, okay.
I
She
have...
said it. She said it.
So my excuse is I can't focus because I'm having a baby. There.
Right. Just wait for preserve.
Yeah.
I'm done. Do your news. It's over. The end.